Hello guys, I know I promised to get back on track with some cooler things, goth related, funny things and stuff like that, but recently a tragedy has happened in the country I live in. The president of one of the biggest cities was stabbed to death on national television. It also so happens that my mum knows his family, well, a part of his family pretty close, and so this is not only a tragedy because it's something national, but it's also kind of personal. It's not personal to me because I used to be friends with his nieces, but we're not anymore, so I didn't feel it that much. But I do feel for the family, nevertheless. That has to be such a traumatic thing to go through, to watch TV and just see someone from your family get stabbed. It's I can't even imagine the amount of pain and sorrow that is going on in their lives right now. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is a part of my life. This has happened. For me, this has happened yesterday, but when you'll be seeing this video, a week would have probably gone by now, because I don't have time to get the video together. I can just film it, but I don't have enough time to put it together before next week. I've got too many uni stuff, but I really wanted to talk about this topic. So in the recent light of things, I decided to make a video on how to cope with losing someone close to you because of what has just happened. So if you are from the country I'm talking of, you'll know what country that is, and you're feeling bad about this, or if you've recently or even not so recently lost someone close to you, I hope I will help you. I study psychology, well, neurobiology and psychology, but I would like to say that everything that I'm going to mention in this video is not, I mean, it may have something to do with psychology, but I'm not basing this in fact, so if it happens to be true, I don't know it. These are just my opinions of how I've dealt with the loss, because I have lost my father a few years back when I was still a teenager, and I haven't had the best contact with my dad. As I mentioned, I don't want to get into my private life on the internet. I'm just going to mention that I haven't seen him for a while before he died, but the loss was terrible for me nevertheless. He was my father, and I've always needed a father figure in my life, so it was terrible for me, so I do know a little bit about loss. I am not a therapist. I'm not even training to be a therapist, so as I mentioned, these things I'm going to say are not psychologically proven. Probably these are just things that help me. First of all, I think it's important to mourn, because I know there will be people who say get a grip, and on one hand they're right, but you have to have enough time to mourn the person you lost before you get a grip. The emotions connected to losing someone are so strong that you can't just ignore them and get a grip. You need to feel them. Sorry if you hear with noise, it's my cat. You need to feel them, you need to go through them. Let yourself go through them. Let yourself cry, let yourself be in pain. Of course, I don't want you to be in pain, I don't want you to suffer, but let yourself feel those emotions. Because if you don't, they're not gonna go away. They're not gonna just disappear. You need to feel them before they disappear. And I think this part is actually a little bit psychologically proven, so probably the rest is just my opinion. But it is healthy to feel those emotions, no matter how much it hurts, and no matter how much you just want to push it away from you. It's better to, feel them and get it over with. The next thing that I think is really important after losing someone is to try to get your life back on track. I'm not saying you have to be happy immediately or anything like that, but just try doing regular things. Losing someone and being in mourning is a little bit like being depressed without depression. There's no cure, you just have to let time heal your wounds and let yourself feel everything. And so what you should try to do is try taking a walk, getting your head cleared. Try making yourself the simplest of lunches. Try doing basic everyday things so that you can start to try to function normally again. This is important. You need to get your life back on track and you need to start living it again. The person who you've lost is gone and that is terrible, but your life is not over yet. And if you want it to be over, please don't. Please don't do that to yourself. It's probably really not worth it. So try to go on, please. If you've managed to do something like that, so, you know, went for a walk, washed your hair, you can, some people, like if you're very asocial, because I have a friend who's like highly asocial, apart from me, she has like 2 friends and she doesn't want any other friend. So if you're highly asocial, maybe this isn't for you, and that's okay as well. Being asocial is absolutely fine. I'm asocial as well, not that much asocial, but still a little bit asocial. But sometimes it's good to meet with someone. It doesn't have to be a friend if you don't feel like meeting up with friends. It can be your partner, it can be a family member who understands what you are going through, or if you need company but really don't want to talk to people. If you have an animal, take your animal out for a walk. Go play with your cat, take your dog out. But try to maybe meet with someone. I don't really like people. I don't like spending time with people that much most of the time. And there are people I like. I want to say I like my friends, so it's not like I hate everyone. But when I'm in a very awful mood, when I'm feeling very bad, I don't feel good enough to meet up with people. The only person that it's okay is my boyfriend. So usually if I'm feeling very bad, I'll go meet my boyfriend or I'll ask him to come over rather, and that makes me feel better. It also helps me feel better with loss. It's good to have someone who helps you to deal with loss, and especially if the person you've lost is a family member, then I think that meeting up and talking to your family about it may be a good idea because they feel the same thing you do. Probably, I'm guessing. So I'm coming up to my next point. Try to talk about it if it still hurts. Because if you're one of those people who feels better if they don't talk about something or ignore it, that's totally okay too. But I think most people feel a need to get their problems off their chest, so talk to someone. Talk to your family members, talk to your partner, your friends, to your animals. Maybe go to therapy if that's what you need, although I feel that this is something that maybe therapy isn't the best option for, because I mean, if it's a very tragic loss and you're mourning very deeply, then of course, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to therapy, but my point is just talk to someone about this, because it might help you feel better. And a thing that I have always found the most important to me is to make yourself happy again. It's going to be hard, I know, it's going to feel like your whole world has exploded and there's nothing no one can do. But you're gonna have to try and do something, because unfortunately no one can really help you. Not really. I know what I'm saying is awful. They can try to help you feel better, but in the end what happens is your choice. So try small things that make you happy. For instance, for me, books make me happy. So if you're like me and you're a bookworm, books make you happy, take a book you haven't read before. Preferably a positive one, of course. Read it. If you'd like, I read a lot, and as I mentioned, I've went through mourning and loss, and I can give you a few books that have made me feel much more better in that period of my life. So if you'd like, I can make a separate video for that if you'd want to just comment in the comments below. So as I mentioned, in my case, it's books. So I'd read a book to make myself feel better. But you know, it can be anything. You can watch a movie to just get your mind off of it. You can go ice skating or just for a walk, as I mentioned. You can do anything you want. You can try doing some sports if you're a sports type of person. Just don't do anything that's destructive. Don't go into drugs or alcohol or stuff like that, because it's not going to help you. It's just going to make things a little bit worse, probably. And I think what is also important is to treat yourself. I'm not saying go and splurge and, you know, put all your money out there. But, you know, take yourself out maybe to a nice dinner, or order in some sushi, or something you wouldn't usually order in because it's a little bit more expensive, but treat yourself. If you like food, if you enjoy food a lot like I do, treat yourself. Order something nice to eat. Go out with someone or alone, whatever you prefer, to eat something nice. it's not going to make you feel better in the long run, but it's going to make you feel better at least for this period of time, for this particular moment. I know that the things I've said may not be the best advice to give, but honestly, this is the only advice I can give as someone who's went through this process. This is a very tough situation, and if anyone is in mourning or has lost someone recently or even not so recently, I am extremely sorry to hear that, and I truly do understand. But the truth is, I don't think there's much more that can help. You have to go through mourning, and you have to realise you're going to have to live without that person now. And I know it's tough, I do, but life has to go on, unfortunately. The show must go on, to quote Freddie Mercury. And that's all I've got for you today, guys. I'm sorry this wasn't positive. Next week I promise I'm back with positive things, but this whole tragedy has struck me, my family, my friends, a lot of the nation really hard, and I wanted to speak up and do something good with it. As I mentioned, the advice I have given is maybe not the most perfect advice. It doesn't do anything perfect, but I hope at least enough to make you feel okay. I'm not even saying good, but okay, to get you a little bit back on track. So I hope you have a nice day. I hope you don't lose anyone else. I hope everything is fine. You snuggle up in your cat, with your cat or dog, or I don't know, rabbit, or horse, whatever animal you own, if you own any. Get yourself some hot cocoa, watch some stupid comedy, and just be happy, because life isn't as long as we'd like it to be, but it's a beautiful experience if you let it be beautiful. And that's what I wish all of you, that you have a beautiful experience with this thing called life. I hope to see you next week. Goodbye. Mwah.